Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello. Do you know what I saw on the way up, Dan?
What's that?
You know that there's loads of different ways to wear face masks, and some people wear them less effectively than others.
Yeah.
I saw a new thing. When I was at school, maybe it was poverty-stricken Columpton, but we didn't have red noses that we could buy. We would make our own out of egg box bits, and then get some string and tie it around the back of your head. Do you ever do that in school?
No. I lived in the metropolis of Exeter.
This man I saw.
By the way, that's nonsense. That Columpton didn't have red noses.
I think it was
for
before
sale.
you could buy red noses. Is that a thing?
Maybe.
Anyway, this man was wearing a face mask as if it was a red nose to be strapped on just around his nose.
Only on the nose. Wow, no, not seen that configuration before.
No, it was remarkable. I cracked up as I was cycling past him way too loudly and looked at him.
Do you remember how much of a big thing the anticipation of what this year's red nose is going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about simpler times. It was like, that's the main thing going on in the country. What's it going to look like this year? Is it going to have little hands or...
Is it going to be a tomato?
The tomato one, yeah. Oh, this one at time it's made out of rubber.
Yeah.
And then now, do they even do them anymore?
Yeah. They're all recyclable now, compostable.
Right, yeah. I'm not in that sphere anymore, so I don't really know what's going on in the world of red noses. But I remember it being, it was such front page news, probably.
I think it still is for kids, perhaps.
I don't reckon it is.
No, they got Xboxes.
Yeah.
Which are better.
TikTok.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw him. I also would like to start the podcast, as would my colleague Dan, with a heartfelt apology for our insane brains.
I mean, I don't know what was going on
I don't know what was going on.
I went all the way up there. I went all the way up to Hartlepool, got myself a new suit.
Direct.
Put it on.
Yeah.
Stood outside the ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, no one turned up. No, it didn't really.
Do you think they leave someone behind at the ground to say, "Nah, it's away today, lads"?
No, they don't. No, because most people can just use their brains.
Yeah, well, we didn't use our brains, and apologies for that. I'd like to say this will be the last time we make a catastrophic error, but you know.
I mean, I think that's probably the biggest mistake we've ever made.
Definitely. Is it?
Well, in terms of just being like so blatantly wrong.
And we knew it was wrong somehow.
Well, I knew he was playing at home on Saturday. He was like fully going to the game and everything, you know.
I'd like to say I got carried away by the suit question.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think we just got so caught up in the suits.
Anyway, don't worry. We're back and we're action-packed and we're fact-packed.
Yeah. We have implemented a few fail-safes in the form of basic notes this week. Something before I would have prided myself on almost never having.
We got David Gray to write a report, and hopefully one day we'll reach Babylon.
Yeah, see you there.
See you there. Anyway, we're here to talk about Exeter City, Hartlepool at home at St James Park, and it was an awfully boring 0-0.
Yeah, it wasn't the exciting kind of, dynamic performance we were hoping for.
No.
Yeah, 0-0.
Thus ends the match report.
But here's, another clean sheet.
Yeah.
Unbeaten still in a few.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of things happened, didn't they?
Yeah, some things happened. There's some good things, some caveats, I suppose, some excuses or explanations as to what happened. I mean, it's not great, but we didn't lose. We
were hamstrung by a lack of striker, of course. So if you recall, listeners, Sam Nombe still out injured. Frandy Zanzala, bought in on loan.
Yeah.
Managed one game and 20 minutes, poor fella, and then went off injured. Very good goal-to-game ratio.
Extremely good, yeah. David Nugent for England sort of levels.
It is. And now he's out of action for some time, although maybe, there's some suggestion, maybe not the whole season now.
Okay, they were suggesting it's going to be a long one, and I think in the Matt Taylor's interview it said, they might not know, they've got to open up his leg and have a look and see what the damage is.
Yeah. So we didn't have...
That is a shame, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, it's a real shame.
If we never see him again, that will be, in an Exeter City shirt, that will be a funny little blip, wasn't it? I mean, not funny for him, but you know.
No, terrible for him. He was there and he waved at everyone before the match.
Yeah.
You know,
so Amond comes back in for him being the only option, really.
Yep. Yeah. There are other options, but they're all out on loan. Not that they're good options, probably.
Well, you know, the only option we had was him.
Yep.
And he didn't really. I mean, he's not really that guy, is he? You know, we've said this before on the podcast. I mean, you have to do what you have to do. He's very good at holding up the ball, or you know, he can do that. But he's not that kind of. I don't think he's a lone striker kind of guy. I mean, he's you know the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
He's not a powerful kind of attacker who's going to run at defences and cause them problems. He's not tall.
No. He's not got all the tricks.
No, you imagine in a 2 he'd be really effective. But we don't play that way, and you know. He did what he could. I don't think he played particularly badly. He didn't have much service. The service he did get wasn't appropriate. We couldn't make anything happen in the first half. No,
the first half was absolute non-event.
I think we had one shot on target, but it was a kind of a weak effort, you know.
Yeah.
Matt J, not in his kind of greatest run of form. Not that he's playing particularly badly, but he's struggling to influence games, isn't he? In the way he had been before. And Hartlepool looked pretty resolute, didn't they?
They did. And we thought things were going to change. It was 53 minutes. The eponymously titled, I don't think that's the meaning of the word, Nicky Featherstone got sent off for what someone described as booting Josh Key in the groin, which is about right. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, I haven't seen...
Completely unnecessary.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it's all the way down in there in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's nothing... It's not like Granit Xhaka a couple of weeks ago where he's literally like he's the last man and he's trying to do anything to stop the guy being through on goal.
No, it was so unnecessary.
Sort of kicked him in half.
But it probably helped Hartlepool in that they're probably quite pleased with the 0-0 away, and from then on they just gave up attacking entirely.
Yeah, which if you're playing for a point is something you can do. You can make it difficult, can't you? Even with 10 men, and I don't feel like we necessarily, partly out of a lack of options, but partly, I don't know, some slightly strange choices in the way we set up for the rest of that game. I mean, a lot of the time you could see from the big bank the way you're looking at it is they've got Hartlepool of 10 men behind the ball, which is all of their men. You know? And then we still have 3 centre-backs sitting right, back on the halfway line. So they still outnumber us. And it's just sort of, well, do something about this, surely, And
I think at that point it showed Matt J's lack of invention at the moment. Because...
Yeah, and Collins as well, to be honest.
And Collins, and I mean, no one was good. No one was good. That's not true. No attacking players were good. We made a few changes, didn't we? And it was good to see. So, about half an hour to go, an hour in, Sparks comes on for Amond.
Yeah, great to see Jack Sparks. I mean,
and he was looking good.
But you're struggling when you have to bring off your only striker.
Yeah,
like we know that he's not like a player is going to be capable of doing 90 minutes week in, week out. So, you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe he couldn't do the whole game, or maybe we're thinking we need to preserve this. The rest of these guys should be able to get a goal against 10 men, even without him. But yeah, great to see Jack Sparks back. Obviously, he gives you that option on the left-hand side.
It looks quite different, doesn't it? Caprice can kind of magic something out of nothing. But it takes a long time to happen, just the way he plays, and then, it's not cut and dried. It's not a proven method, or it's not a regularly successful method. Whereas Sparks has got a few things he can do because he's left-footed.
Yeah,
and it just opened things up more, didn't it?
It did. It just meant he could get to the byline and put some crosses in, which he managed to do, and they were decent crosses. But we had no one in the box.
One in there, yeah.
And even if they are in the box, they're. We were a small side compared to that Hartlepool defence, Yeah. And it was never going to be, it was unlikely to affect too much. But, again, it was good to see that happening. And I'm glad to see Jack Sparks back. At one point, Grounds had come on as well, right? So Grounds comes on for, who was it? Stubbs.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then they're there's a bit of miscommunication down that left-hand side between them two, and then it looked like it was Grounds' error, but then he starts having to go at Jack Sparks, and then you kind of wonder. I was thinking, Jonathan Grounds, very experienced player. I mean, and even though he's probably getting on a bit now, you can see that he used to be is a good player there. And he was obviously annoyed, vexed.
Yeah.
With Sparks.
Yeah.
And you kind of think, well, I don't know, maybe he's right. I mean, Sparks might have been not taking up the right positions. Who knows? But all of this.
It just ultimately, it was a frustrating day, wasn't it? I did like Sparks on the left. I know Josh Key then had to go in the middle later on, which obviously is just a last ditch attempt at anything.
Well, yeah, we've ended the match. I mean, played the last however long, 10 minutes or whatever it was, with a defensive midfielder and a right wing back up front, and Dieng put in there just because of his height and his, area ability. And now with Sparks on the left, Caprice on the right, crosses into the box. We maybe could have done that move a little bit earlier, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we did it, and we still couldn't get much out of it. Dieng did have a couple of chances which were difficult ones to take, back post kind of things, and I don't really blame him for missing those.
When Kyle Taylor came on, we're obviously very well drilled in terms of their way of operating is get the ball in the middle, find space on the wing, overlap, which will either create space or give you an option. We've obviously got that thing.
Yeah.
Now, Hartlepool, because there were so many of them sitting back, there was one point in the game, Kyle Taylor had all the space. Honestly, there was no one in front of him for 10 yards, and they weren't coming any closer. They were just staying back. And he just automatically... you could see him from the big bank just go into the right. Just go into, and you're like, if you look up and you use your football brain a bit, because you're obviously someone who's got a brain, there would have been... I wonder slightly if Matt Taylor's so this is how we do it, and we're very well drilled, that sometimes there's a lack of inventions kind of almost discouraged.
Yeah, but you can see that in a way.
I can see why.
Because at League 2 level, you do that, and you got to go for the the numbers game. The most likely, rather than it's not Wenger's Arsenal. Do you know what I mean, where you got all these magicians and you go out and do your thing, and this is the kind of vague tactical plan, but ultimately you decide what happens. I thought Taylor showed at least a bit of urgency,
yes,
which we were lacking. He did carry the ball. I'm not sure he's our player. We've signed him. I'm sort of vaguely optimistic about him. I think he can be a useful player. We haven't seen enough of him yet, I don't think.
No.
And I think we've seen glimmers of what he could be capable of. He's not getting a run in the team, so it's very hard for him to kind of get anything going.
Mm.
But I didn't think his introduction was the worst thing in the world, and it did lead to a few chances him coming on as well. So, but yeah, ultimately very frustrating day.
Yeah, it was.
Diabate was good though, right? And so was Stubbs and Sweeney.
Yeah.
I mean, Sweeney defensively again didn't have his greatest day going forward, but none of them really did. But yeah, that's worth mentioning. I think especially we'll come on to this, but Diabate's great form currently. And,
absolutely carved out a spot for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
More about that in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. Remember, you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways. On Twitter, @BigBangPod. On email, we're bigbangpod@gmail.com, and we're on Facebook as well. You can get in touch with corrections, and thanks to the multitude of people who told us about an error we may have made last week, I've never felt so popular until I realised it was all lambasting me.
I mean, fair enough, isn't it, to lambast in that situation?
Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, you can get in touch with us with comments or corrections. We welcome them all. We really do.
Yeah, it's all good optics, isn't it?
We're here to talk about the transfer. So yesterday, the transfer window slid shut, was closed, was left open for a while to,
in more
hands,
sort of,
face, space.
I'd say slid shut like a kind of, French window.
Yeah.
Wasn't it really?
Yeah, yeah.
And one that, you got to shut quite gently because it might shatter.
Sure. So City, it's a funny old transfer window, isn't it, of course? We brought in two players, for Andy Zanzala right at the beginning of the window.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, poor fella got injured. And so, just yesterday, it was confirmed we've got Kieran Phillips.
Yep. Till the end of the season on loan from Huddersfield Town.
Yep.
They're Championship, are they?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. He's just signed a new sort of 5-year deal there. He's recalled by them or sent back.
No, recalled.
Recalled
Yeah.
from Walsall, where he's on loan.
That's right.
Where he played against us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember him.
People do, though. Like,
But,
some
okay, right, yeah.
people who went to...
Everyone seems to be saying, mostly Walsall fans, on the World Wide Web,
yes.
that he was being played out on the wing, where he should have been being played through the middle.
So the word on the World Wide Web from Walsall
Winger
is that the
For
winger
Walsall,
wasn't used correctly.
yeah.
Good. So anyway, Huddersfield recalled him. We've taken him on. He's 21 years old. Like you said, committed to, or Huddersfield are committed to him. Played 24 games for Walsall, is that right?
Something like that, 26, I think.
Okay.
Scored 4.
Okay.
Looks quick, doesn't he?
And looks lofty.
I think he's tallish. 6'1.5", according to his Wikipedia page.
The half counts.
But that's tallish. That's not tall. Yeah, that's tallish.
Yeah, it's not Dan Burn, is it?
No, it's not Hakeem Olajuwon.
No, but neither is it Matt J. He'll do more good up front than with the headed balls than our current options.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a kind of. I mean, does this count as a kind of correct prediction for me?
What was your correct prediction?
Well, remember I said I reckon we bring in a kind of Bowman type,
Oh,
a big man.
well, let's see. I mean, he is big,
He's big. He's a man. I call that correct.
but a
I
Bowman
better not get
type.
lambasted for that. No, I mean a big man.
Oh, a big man.
I don't know if he plays like Bowman. I'd presume not, but he's big, isn't he? He's
Big
tall.
man on Huddersfield. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But great to have someone.
Yeah, good work to get someone in.
Obviously, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
A nightmare, because we're hardly flush with the cash. I mean, we're careful with the cash, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, the cash is a kind of touchy subject, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's the only income. That's 2 incomings, one of whom can actually play. We may see Zanzala again.
Who knows?
Who knows? He doesn't know at the minute. Which means...
Also, we're told that Stubbs is nearly back, and I overheard someone...
Nombe, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, Sam Stubbs is already back.
Yeah.
Emphatically.
But we've had to say it so often.
Don't lambast me for that, all right? We've realised. Right, Nombe
Sam Nombe.
is almost back, and he might play this week.
Might play
Taylor.
this week.
And I heard someone on the Big Bank say they saw him at training sprinting.
Right.
So, there you go.
So the proof if ever you wanted it.
So, that's good news, isn't it? It's going to be important to have...
Well, we needed someone
strikers.
anyway, didn't we? We
probably needed someone anyway, yeah, of course, because, Seymour's gone out on loan.
Cox in ready.
Cox out on loan.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, now that means conspiracy theorists among you will have noticed that George Ray has left the club on loan for the rest of the season.
That's not conspiracy theory, that he has.
Oh, right, yeah, that's a fact. George Ray's left the club on loan, and I think we've got him for another season. I think he's on a 2-year, but I might be wrong.
Right.
I might be wrong about that. He's gone to Orient for the rest of the year on loan.
Yes. Who he played like next week or something, right?
Yeah, soon, yeah.
Very soon.
Very soon. Tuesday.
Presumably he won't be able to play against us.
No.
But I don't know.
Well, so the
This
rumours have been flying round, as they always seem to, and I think, I don't know, I've got no grounds to believe this, but others seem to, that Taylor and he don't see eye to eye. Now, obviously, we had the same rumour about Aaron Martin. We had the same rumour about Tom Parks. I don't know about Aaron Martin. Tom Parks, it was because he put on loads of weight in lockdown, wasn't it? And not done his training like he should have.
Yeah.
Who knows about Ray? He seems like a very, heart and soul of the crowd kind of person.
Yeah, he seemed really into it.
But then, of course, we've got a lot of centre backs.
I don't know if we should bother with this. They've fallen out.
No,
business.
I'm not
One,
bothering.
because we're never going to know.
Yeah.
And 2, because it's irrelevant, really, anyway, do you?
We don't know if he had to go because of the money. Because it might well be that we're like, well, we've got Stubbs, Hartridge, Sweeney, Diabate.
These are the things we do know.
Yes.
We've already got too many centre-backs.
Yeah.
Getting somebody off your wage bill when you've got to bring in 2 extra strikers, one of whom can't play, can only be a good thing.
Yes.
And, so those are the facts. We do know those things.
We do know those facts.
And he wants to play. He obviously wants to play.
Yeah.
And he's fallen behind in the pecking order, behind the emergence of both Diabate and Sam Stubbs, who every time that they've played together 4 times in the league or something like that, and kept 4 clean sheets.
Well, they've certainly been involved in the 4 clean sheets. Yeah, I'm not sure if they had one before. I'm not sure if they were together at Sutton, but yeah, that's right. They've always been really good.
Chet Diabate scored a goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and Sweeney's kind of made that position his own, really, and deserves to as well.
Yeah.
Deserves it. He's the right man for that position, Sweeney. So there's George Ray, good defender.
Yeah.
Look well, good for us. He's good in the air.
Yeah.
He's good.
He's a committed kind of player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a danger from attacking, situations. He's not that good on the ball. He's not that good. I don't know. No, he's a good player. He's not that great on the ball. I mean, he's not quick.
Yeah.
And we've been saying all season on this podcast, and the numbers speak for themselves, that we have been leaking a lot of goals, and a lot of those goals came from balls into the box, not being dealt with by. I'm not blaming it on George Ray. There's plenty of other players around there who are involved in those goals that aren't being sent out on loan to Leyton Orient.
Yeah.
But look at the facts. We were conceding goals when he was in the heart of that defence. We aren't conceding goals now.
Yeah.
Fair enough, he played a lot more games. These ones have played less. But, it just makes sense, doesn't it,
And added factor, Hartridge. He's behind Hartridge.
And Hartridge, yeah. And the point is, as well, that Diabate and Hartridge are young.
Yeah.
And George Ray is, I think 28. You want to prioritise, one, your players with a longer career ahead of them, future, more potential to make money.
Yeah.
It makes sense on paper. So therefore, I don't know if there's any need to talk about the rumours.
Yep.
However, his tweet says this: delighted to join Leyton Orient on loan till the end of the season.
Okay.
Loved the first half of the season in Exeter, but things can change quickly in football.
Oh.
All the best to the Grecians for the rest of the season.
You've just stoked the conspiracy fire.
I know,
there.
but I'm just reading something out that he said.
Oh, he said that.
So I
mean, that might mean loved playing in the first half.
Exactly.
Things have changed because I've been overtaken by Diabate. It might mean Matt Taylor didn't like it when I ate his last slice of cake.
Yep. Who knows? I mean, if you're going to speculate, he might have fallen out with anyone, or he might have I don't know. It could be anything. But
taken a dump on Taggy's Range Rover.
Bentley now, apparently.
Taken a dump on Taggy's Bentley. Wow. It's a lot of buffing. Anyway, he's gone. We might not see him again in a City shirt. I can't remember what his contract length is.
Yeah.
Obviously, we lost Awara Edwards back along. He went back on from his loan. But what's really important and interesting, Dan, is the people we've kept.
Yeah, we know there was a substantial offer received for one of our players,
who we were assuming was either Key or J.
It's probably Key, isn't it?
Probably.
Anyway, they're here now for the rest of the season, and that is probably the biggest thing, talking point of the transfer window.
Yep. And then.
I mean, it hasn't been. They've both been slightly not as in recent weeks. No, is this fair? Jay, we know, has been slightly off the boil. Key's been good.
I think if the transfer window had been the last week of November, we might have had bigger problems keeping hold of them.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Of course, the other big news is that Dawson's not been recalled.
Of course. Yeah, that is good.
I mean, that's really good.
That didn't ever feel like...
It didn't.
That would have felt like...
rumours.
Nah, I think that would have... If we'd have known about it, if Sheffield Wednesday, they'd have to have had some, either big injury problems or, goalkeeping problems. And I haven't checked, but I'm guessing they haven't.
Well, he's still here. So that's great, as well as Amond, of course.
Yes.
So, I mean... They don't feel like new players. We hope they would stay, but that, ignoring the problem around Zanzala, Nombe, Phillips.
Well, we look at Key said before, hadn't he, that he was distracted by the rumours in the summer. So now, all of them, there's nothing, they're not leaving now. They're here for the rest of the season. There's only that one thing to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully they can think about it really hard and get us back where we want to be.
Yeah. Think.
So anyway, on that, coming up, 2 games coming up. We're on the Saturday, Tuesday from now on, Dan.
Yeah. Saturday, Tuesday.
This Saturday we go to the county ground. That's Swindon. Swindon play Crawley tonight, actually. So anything I say is with that caveat.
Okay.
But they're 7th. They're just above us, point above us, 42 points. Obviously, we've slipped away.
Big game,
drawn
this,
their last,
isn't it?
It's a
This
big
is
game.
a big game.
They've drawn their last 2.
Have they?
Yes, they've drawn their last 2. They beat Port Vale.
So it's teams that are not in the habit of losing, us and them.
Yes, indeed.
Draw then, is it?
Lewis Ward's been in goal for them, of course.
Yeah.
He wasn't in goal on Saturday. I don't know why. He was on the bench. I don't know if it's COVID or whatever.
I don't know if he's their first choice keeper.
He's been playing quite a lot.
Has he?
He played against Manchester City. He's played in the league a bit.
Okay, right.
I wonder if it's a bit of a Maxted Ward kind of thing again.
Okay.
So he's definitely not just a bench warmer, but he's also not,
Saved a penalty from Gabriel Jesus.
I know, amazing. Obviously, Swindon had a terrible summer, terrible start to the season. They picked up new owners, I think. Has it gone through yet? I don't know, but they've kind of sorting it out. They've actually got some players in their team.
Yep.
Not Pierce Sweeney.
No.
Sweeney, of course, carried on for us. Now played his 250th game as a City player.
Yeah. Congrats. That's good, isn't it?
That's really good. Really good. And he's really become, he's... There's almost been points where he's plateaued, and you think, he's improving and he's plateaued. But I'd say he's at his best now that I've seen him.
I think that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Swindon's a big one. Yeah, and not least because they're absolute promotion rivals.
Yeah, playoff rivals as well, I'd say, at this point, isn't it? Are they all big games? They're not really. It comes down to runs of form, doesn't it? And having a really good month can help you out. At the moment, the problem seems to be not so much that we're not doing well enough, although Saturday was a bit disappointing. We've definitely picked up this year since January, but everyone else around us just can't stop winning.
No, that's right.
So, and if they two of them have to play each other, they draw. And so, we're not being done any favours by everyone else. So, except for, I think Tranmere got battered by Forest Green, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to get beaten by Forest Green, aren't they?
Well, we didn't.
Except us. But yeah, they seem to just be picking up points everywhere. Mansfield can't stop winning. Yeah, it's just a long list of people who are in good form. I mean, on the plus side, we're also, they'll be looking at our results and be like, well, they've not lost again, so
yeah,
it's a long way to go.
If we'd have won on Saturday, I'd be a bit more optimistic about this, because that would have been like, even if we'd scraped to win, because you'd think, okay, under the circumstances, no recognised kind of, well, I mean, there was a recognised striker, but
wasn't suited to our system.
Yeah, but I tell you what is I'm glad about actually a positive from the weekend is that we did at least still press on with the formation rather than switching things up. Just it didn't work, but I think on balance it's better to keep considering we assumed at that point, and we were right too, that it was only going to be a very short term thing, as in one game.
I think a real positive from that game, which plays into sticking with the formation being worthwhile, is that I think Sparks, for me, is going to start getting the nod over Caprice. And when you've got Key on the right-hand side, plus an effective striking team, that actually looks better to me. I know Caprice has got skill. Yeah, I do.
Do you think Caprice is going to be in there on Saturday?
He might be, but I think that we'll start to see him being edged out. I mean, it's really good that you've got that option, so whoever starts, you've got the other one that can come on.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. I think that's a good option to have. Personally, I just think he'll keep with Caprice for now, but then maybe start doing what he did in that game, moving things around, possibly shifting Caprice to the other side. It gives you, like you said, those options, doesn't it?
It does.
And I like the idea of kind of, I'll tell you what, Huddersfield kind of had our number on those wing-back situations as well, didn't they? Hartlepool, sorry, yeah. But I think it gives you that option to kind of hit them with a guy cutting in, the Devon Iron Robin, Jake Caprice.
Yeah.
And then switch it up and hit them with someone who's going down the outside, which is, especially if people know know what we're up to.
Yeah,
see what we're doing.
Yeah, good to have that space created and the option to run into it. Yeah. Then of course Tuesday it's Orient at home. George Ray presumably won't be there.
George Ray's Orient. That's weird for him, isn't it? He's just going to come straight
Orient.
back because he will be there, won't he? Well, they will still go with the squad, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't go like, no, you don't come. Don't come. It'd be too painful for you, George.
No, he'll be there. That's all part of it, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be strange for him.
A chance to say goodbye.
Their manager is now. Chance to say goodbye. Yeah. Do you know who their manager is?
No.
Kenny Jackett.
Portsmouth boy.
Yeah, and Millwall before that.
Right.
Obviously a very good manager in the past. Orient need a good manager. They're not doing especially well, sitting at 15th. They beat us, didn't they, of course, back in August.
Yeah, battered us 3-0.
Since then, they've not really kicked on.
No.
They haven't won since they beat Swindon 4-1 at the beginning of December. They haven't won since then. Now, they've had a couple of games cancelled for the old COVID.
Okay.
And they've got Harry Smith up front, who's been there a while. He scored 11 so far. But, it's at City, evening game. If we got 4 points from Swindon and Orient, you think that's okay?
Oh, if we win Swindon, I'll be full of optimism for this.
I can't see us winning, if I'm honest.
This Tuesday game.
Yeah.
But if we lose, I'll be worried about that Orient game. Not necessarily that we'll lose, but that we won't be able to find a way to win. It's in the, it's all. We don't know.
We don't know. And neither do you, listeners, of course. And I really noticed a kind of divide amongst the City faithful, as always. I'm normally wildly optimistic. I am. I can't see us scraping autos.
I don't think it's been on the cards. I think
it's weird how quickly
just
it fell
the way,
away, isn't it?
yeah,
I suppose because everyone else is winning.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And suddenly, because early on in the season, there was like teams like you had like Swindon and Mansfield and stuff looking like they weren't at it.
Yeah.
And then you had Sutton up there and Harrogate up there, and you thought there's a good chance those ones will fall away.
Yeah.
And it leaves a gap. And one that hasn't really happened, like Harrogate a bit.
Sutton's
but
the
other teams have picked up, and
yeah.
we had that disastrous month, which you could get away with if other people weren't ploughing on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's a strong league this season.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of teams are of a similar standard. There aren't many rubbish teams, actually, are there?
No, and so we're going to need to go on a seriously good run in order to get automatic places. And like you said, I mean, I'm not really that optimistic anyway. Generally,
no. I suppose loads of it, unfortunately for him, depends on how well Nombe comes back, doesn't it? Like, it's good to have Dieng back. The defence is sorted. Obviously, Key's great. Caprice or Sparks are great. Collins on his day is really good.
Yeah.
But
I think you can look... I mean, I don't know this for a fact. My gut tells me that successful League Two teams have at least one striker who's getting a big load of goals.
Yeah.
You look at Forest Green, I think they've got 2 players on over 15 goals.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the men's team. That's the kind of state of play. Obviously, in a week's time, we'll have a better idea, I think. It feels like we said, it's just so busy now, February and March. Things can change really quickly.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Does it start now, this season?
I mean, it's annoying, because we gave ourselves a really good start with that unbeaten run. And I know we were all saying, well, no, it doesn't really matter yet.
Yeah, and we were drawing a lot.
Yeah, and we were drawing a lot.
It didn't buy us enough headroom, did it, at the top? But...
And you look back now at those some of those draws, disastrously ridiculous draws.
Yeah.
And you're like, 2 extra points there and 2 extra points there, and the thing looks completely different. Instead, there we are, sat just outside, as usual.
Groundhog Day.
Really is. Tell you who it's not Groundhog Day for. The women's team had a very good run in the FA Cup.
Well, the only reason it's not Groundhog Day for them is because they lost.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But they're so used to winning.
Only lost on penalties. 0-0 against West Brom, 4th round of the FA Cup. and really unfortunate to lose 4-2 in penalties.
Oh, yeah, very unlucky. And they're having a really good season, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think the weekend before that, they won 11-0.
Crazy. Also, if we're talking about Sweeney getting 250 games, Manfi Sharp played her 100th game. That was her 100th match for City.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, it is good to see. It's good to see the club kind of flourishing.
Yeah.
In all different kind of ways, but especially on the pitch. And I think it feels like to me that it's growing. Obviously women's football is growing internationally.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be a part of that, isn't it? You know, and to be at least looking like that we're doing it properly.
Yeah.
And that we're putting time and effort into it and giving it attention.
Yeah.
You know, like the social media side of it's really good with that. They give them lots of plenty of coverage. I don't know what other clubs are like, because why on earth would I go about looking on other football teams' Twitters to see how much airtime they're giving to their women's sides?
Yeah, why would you?
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
And I'm someone who's got a lot of free time. But I would do anything for City, but I won't do that.
Good reference. It's also worth saying this. On Saturday, Hartlepool brought hardly any, right?
Yeah, miles.
I know it's miles, but...
They're all too busy suit shopping.
Probably.
Or maybe they couldn't find a suit good enough, to make it the trip worthwhile.
Maybe. Or maybe they listened to our podcast and turned up at the wrong place. Whatever the reason, the attendance was still over 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Because, it's been around 4,800, 4,900, but over 5,000 with I don't know, there's probably 100 ways.
Over 5,000, was it?
5,120.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really good. Because it wasn't a nice day, and it wasn't like I said, it was only home fans, essentially.
No, and it's good to see interest in the team.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm pleased that it's happening.
I'm pleased too. Are you pleased, listeners? I hope so. You fine people.
Yeah. Maybe it's those red shorts.
Could be. Gets the loins going.
Oh, maybe. Right, yeah. Red for danger. Dangerous loins.
Yeah. You think, I'd like a bit of that. I'd like to see
Look out.
those dangerous loins in action.
I don't particularly care for it, as is well documented. But
next year they're going for white shorts.
how do you know that?
I don't. I made it up.
Oh,
Just wanted
right.
to see your reaction.
I wouldn't mind that. I've
Would
said
ya?
that.
I'd hate that.
Why? That looks good, white shorts.
Nah.
You've had that loads.
Disgusting.
It's not disgusting.
I hate
It's nice.
it. Ugh.
No, it's not good for the kit man, is it?
Certainly not good for the kit man, but it's also not good for my eyes. I just don't like it at all.
Well, you'd rather have red shorts than white.
Yeah, every time.
That's batshit.
No, incorrect. It's absolutely good.
The
That is
annoying
solid.
thing is about the whole kit thing,
Yeah.
is that last season we were playing with black shorts,
Yes.
that same top, right?
Yeah.
And then black and white hooped socks.
Yeah.
And then you got hoops and stripes, which,
Yeah, careful.
anyone would tell you that, you ain't got to look much further than GQ's top 10 do's and don'ts to tell you that one. That's a no-goer.
Okay.
And then this season we've gone like, we're going to change the shorts to red. I'm not in favour of it, but fine. And then they go for red socks. Well, that's the perfect thing. Have the red socks, black shorts, and that red top. It would have looked the smartest team around.
Well,
Saying
missed
that
the trick
though, I
then.
really liked whose kit did I quite like? Warsaw's, I think it was nice.
How was it?
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, it's not white shorts. I don't know. That's unconfirmed.
but yeah, no, it's going to look good to see Kevin Phillips in that
I wish
in
it
the
was.
red and white of City.
I've forgotten his name already.
Kieran.
Kieran Phillips.
What is he, Welsh?
Oh, I don't know. He'll start, won't he?
No, wait, I think I've
He'll
heard him
surely
talk.
start.
Yeah, he might have to, yeah.
Zanzala style. If he does
Yeah.
the same as Zanzala, not the injury bit.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
God.
One game injured.
Don't even say it.
And then, what would be great? Phillips gets the first goal. 1-0. Nombe comes on. Loves his life. That's it. We're sorted. If I see Nombe on the pitch on Saturday, at any point, I'll think, Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
it's back on.
I mean, I'm looking forward to, let's say, or in all likelihood, he probably will be back by this time next week, Tuesday night. I mean,
we know how he loves the Big Bank.
Everyone's looking forward to seeing him coming over and doing that, sort of clapping at the Big Bank at the end of the match.
I can't wait already.
Win, lose or draw.
Yeah. But I especially want to see him do a slow walk towards the Big Bank after he scored.
Yeah, and that rhythmic clapping, like, I've got to see it again. Craving it.
Yeah. Tell you what.
Like crack.
Yeah, it is.
It's like crack to me.
Wow. On that bombshell, we'll be back next week after Tuesday night, after Orient, won't we?
Well, yeah.
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 So look out for it, listeners.
Well, I suppose expect this podcast to hit your feed.
Yeah.
Sort of Wednesday-ish from
Yeah.
here on.
Some point Wednesday for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Hope you don't have to change your patterns of living too much, listeners. I'd imagine that the listeners,
That's the beauty of the podcast format, though, isn't it? You can stick it on when you're doing something else.
That's true.
Maybe you're going for a run. Maybe you're at the gym. Maybe you're doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Maybe you're taking the dog a walk.
I'd like to think that they put it on like the gramophone.
Well, this isn't happening.
And all the family gathers round.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Shush, Timmy.
Dan's going to say something wrong.
Hang on.
John might also. Yeah. That's what I think happens.
A family event.
Yeah, I think so.
If you listen in that style,
yeah,
let us know.
I'd love.
And also, I'm interested to know if anyone's inflicting this upon their children.
Yeah, we'd like to know that, or other halves, quite likely.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think there's at least one woman who enjoys it.
I know for a fact there is at least
good.
one woman.
But maybe there's some other significant others, not just women, whoever, who are sort of have to endure it but have absolutely no interest in either Exeter City or listening to two strangers talking about it.
Yeah.
In an ill-informed, often wrong way.
Turns out often wrong.
I want to know about it.
My wife is not interested in Exeter City or football at all. If you asked her to name a player, all she could say is Chris T. Pym, and she says it like that.
Right, okay.
So maybe you're learning something, listeners. Maybe your other half's enjoying this. And now it's gone in by osmosis. And if they happen to be in a pub quiz where one of the rounds was about Exeter City, they'd have a fighting chance.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah.
And let us know, because we deserve part of the prize.
We do, yeah.
And we'll be claiming it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, is that everything?
Probably.
All bases covered?
All bases covered. All the fact boxes ticked.
Are they, though? Let's just check these notes here. Talked about that.
Such extensive notes.
Yes,
Dan's just giving it the final
yes.
once over. I think we're good. I hope you're good, listeners. Thanks for listening, as always. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague, Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.